Well, hello again everyone, and welcome back to the van where work on replacing our old leaky gas heater with a nice new diesel heater is continuing. Now I must say our first video in this series did attract quite a lot of attention and comments, especially from Facebook people. A lot of it very useful advice, and a lot of the comments on the video very useful and good suggestions made there. Well, of course, my initial thoughts were to put the heater in the locker under the seat here, and lots of people advised against that, and I've had a bit of a think about it. I mean, my real sort of desire there was to blow a little bit of heat into the bathroom. But I think with the heater running, you just leave the bathroom door open a little bit. And the difficulties involved in getting enough air into that locker and, rerouting all the water pipes, maybe a little bit of a clash with the carver water heater, just really makes that a little bit of a less advisable location, really. So we have this nice space here where we took out the old gas heater, and I think that is now my preferred location. Lots of people suggested this. There's already a big hole in the floor. It was already a space for a heater. Now I was thinking of, the diesel tank above here. Lots of people suggested putting it in the gas locker, but that gas locker is a bit restricted in space, and I'd have to get a smaller tank, and it'll be a bit sort of cramped in there. And we'd also have a problem, how do we fill the tank? Do we have a sort of removable tank you take out, or would we be trying to get the petrol pump into the, not the petrol pump, diesel pump into the locker? Yeah, it wasn't quite ideal. And lots of people were concerned about the diesel tank being in the motorhome. I've seen a lot of people do this and put diesel tanks in their van conversions and motorhomes and things, but people raise good point about spillages and things, and smells such like. So yeah, I'm moving away from that idea, but I'm not really liking the gas locker idea either. So the preferred option does seem to be connection to the main vehicle's fuel tank. Let's have a little look underneath and see what that looks like. To make life a little easier, I've just pulled her up onto the ramps. Well, there of course is our lovely fuel tank, and you've got the big, that's the filler pipe coming down, isn't it? I think that's the main feed into the injection pump via the filter, and these must be just little returns of some sort, not sure. Well, we're back under the bonnet, and this is obviously the fuel filter. This is the feed coming in to the fuel filter, and it comes off of this, if you can see real well there, this thing here, which I think is like a little heater thing to warm the diesel up a little bit off the heat of the engine. Tell me if I'm talking out of my hat there. And up she comes into the fuel filter, and then off she goes. This is just put round here, I think, for a bit of protection, but that obviously goes round here and then off into the injection pump. I don't know if you can see that hose looping around there, but yeah, it's there somewhere. So George from the George and Jane channel has suggested we could perhaps come out of that bleed nipple. Or of course we could just cut into this fill hose here. So I think I probably prefer the option of cutting into the fuel hose, because that will be after the filter and before the injection pump. Well, so would the bleed nipple, really, to be fair. I don't think there's a lifter pump on these from the tank to the filter, so everything sort of from here will be under negative pressure when the engine's running, because the injection pump just sucks it in from the tank. So I don't think we're in danger of sort of blowing anything into the pump for the diesel heater. So I think that might be my preferred option. Now remember folks, I am not a trained or qualified mechanic. These are not intended to be how-to videos. These are just vlogs for your entertainment as we try and keep our 1990 motorhome on the road. If you have any doubts about working on your own van, then you should really consult a trained and qualified mechanic. Well, both this clip here and that clip there, they're both rusted solid and the heads are rounded off on them. Now I could cut them off, but I need to be able to move the van off the drive again because Nikki needs the drive clear in the week. So I'm going to leave that for the moment, and I'm going to measure the diameter of the other return hose here, that one there, because I can obviously see that because it's got the other hose go into it. And from that I should be able to work out what size fill line and T I need to cut in to one of those pipes. Well, that's looking like a 7mm outside diameter pipe, so that's going into the larger hose there, so presumably that's 7mm internal diameter. I would have thought it'd be 6 or 8, but yeah, oh well. Perhaps it's something more like 5/8, but most of the stuff on this van is metric, being a Citroen. But I'm going to have a look into that and see what the right size pipe to order is. Anyhow, on to some of the other stuff we've already started. Let's get something finished before we start another part of this job, shall we? Well, there's the gap where I removed the old gas heater, and you can see I've just put some boards over there just to cover the hole. And that's quite important because you don't want to leave your van parked with a big hole in the floor because evil spirits could get in. So you do have to block any holes like that off when you finish working on the van and you're going to park it up and leave it for a bit. So let's uncover that. You can see down there the end of the gas pipe that used to feed the gas heater, and that's really the first thing I want to get rid of, so I can cut that away, cap it all off safely so we can use the gas system safely. Well, my hope was to replace this T where the feed went off to the gas heater with just a straight coupling, but you can see I've gone and brought the wrong size one. I looked on the Toolbit forum and I thought everyone was saying that it was 6mm pipe, but it's clearly not. Look, it's bigger than the 6mm coupling I brought. So yeah, what is that? Let's get the tape and have a look. Right, I'm gonna use my little cutter, cut the end off that pipe with the olive on so I can slide the nut off, and then the nut may even have stamped on it what size that gas pipe is. Right, well, I've cut off a short length pipe from that bit under the floor there, and there's the nut that came off it. It's fairly tight fit. I guess the end of that pipe's a bit burred, but yeah, it goes on that end okay. And here's my 6mm fitting, and as you can see, yeah, it's there or thereabouts. It's just a shade bigger So it's clearly not 6mm. There's no marking on this nut. I'm guessing it's the imperial equivalent. So I'm going to go and have a look and see what that might be. So I guess that gas pipe is going to be 1/4 inch, and I've just gone inside and ordered a 1/4 inch coupler instead of that 6mm one, because 1/4 inch is what, 6.35mm equivalent, so that would explain why it wouldn't just quite fit. But if so, that's the first imperially sized thing I've found in this van so far. Everything else is metric, so yeah, there you go. We'll see what happens when that turns up. So that bit will have to be left to another day, but never mind, there's still stuff we can get on with. Let's have another look at where we're going to position the new diesel heater. So yeah, I'm going to mount it here somewhere, and this turret plate does fit nicely through that gap. Now, what I really need to do, of course, is to make a sort of plate to go over there. So I'm just going to measure where the carpet comes to, which is where that previous board comes to, because that's probably not a bad sort of place to end up. I mean, this turret plate can't go any further that way really, because the chassis rail is there. So that heater is going to end up, you know, along this line here. So yeah, let's measure up and cut out a nice bit of ply to go in there. Well, got some nice 6mm ply that will probably do for that, which wouldn't be too heavy either. Let's go ahead and cut that size. Yeah, that'll do lovely, I think. Now we just have to decide where to position this turret plate. Right, so it's back to our lovely diesel heater. Now this, I believe, is the sucky in end, and this is the blowy out end. So I'll put the plate on and we'll mock it up a little bit. Will the plate fit? Yeah, the plate does fit pretty nicely. So yeah, we obviously want to be blowing out towards the main body of the van. So it wants to be mounted this way round, doesn't it? Right, let's take this ply out. So I want to give myself a bit of room to play with this end, because I might want to attach some ducting and things to bring out to different places. Probably not that different places, but I might want to turn maybe through 90 degrees and blow out the front. So I want to mount it fairly, I don't want to mount it too far back, because obviously it's got to have space for air to circulate. But we can make a nice airy enclosure, so I don't think that'll be too much of a problem to mount it somewhere there-ish. Right, so let's take the heater off. And then we can measure where that comes to from the edge there. Yeah, that's pretty much 40mm. So let's decide which is going to be the top. The cab is going to be in that direction. So edge of that plate wants to be 40 mil there. And this end is to be 110. So what we need to do is to drill our lovely big hole in the right place on there. Right, well, I've checked and this ring is mounted pretty much centrally. It's a little bit off, but it is obviously intended to be central on this plate. So I'm going to mark the 40 mil line on there and the 110 line on there. That'll give me my corner, and then I can just mark a sort of center point if I draw around the thing and put a cross through the middle. Let's see how that goes. So yeah, X marks the spot where we should drill our big hole. Now I wonder if I've got a hole saw that big. Well, that's pretty much perfect, I'd say. Right, let's clamp that down, get the drill out and drill the hole. Well, there we go. That fits on there rather nicely, if I say so myself. What I'm going to do now is I've got some nice little 6mm by 15 sets that I'll drill that out for, and then I can just bolt that onto the plywood. I'm not going to screw it on because I think it'd be a better sort of finish to bolt it on. I'm also going to put some heat resistant sealant between this plate and the plywood, but again I'm not going to do that yet because I might have to break this down again yet before we finish the installation. So I'm just going to bolt it up loosely. So that will go nicely there. Actually, those bolt heads are going to need seating down, aren't they? And then that will sit on there like that. It's be quite a tight bends to get anything up and out, isn't it, ducting wise? Again, we may have to think about that a little bit more as well. But yeah, I think that's good. That's looking good. So the next thing is I'm just going to undo this plate again, and I'm just going to mark the floor for where I want to recess in these little bolt heads. So there we go, that's going to be the mounting position, I think. So there we go, we've got a position now for the heater itself. We've got a potential feed off the diesel pipe near the filter to bring that in, but I think we need some 7mm fuel line. Well, hopefully it's 7mm. I'm going to buy some 7mm pipe and fittings to test, I think. But of course, we've also got to get power to it. Now, this is the little wiring loom that came with it. This one goes onto the heater itself. This is the inline fuse, obviously. I'm not sure what this one is. This one connects to the knob panel, but I don't know what this one is. Maybe this connects to that other fancy panel, if you've got that. I'm not sure. If you know what that connects to, then let me know. I'm obviously a bit devoid of instructions. Oh, unless that goes to the pump. That probably goes to the pump, doesn't it? Yeah, there we go. Look, we've got that connection on the pump. So that goes to the pump. So, yeah, we know where all the electrics go, but where are we going to get the power from? Now, my original thought was to get the power from the same place as the Carver panel gets its power from, to tap off that when I was going to put the heater under the seat here. But that's not going to work because it's on the wrong side of the van. Although, of course, could run some wires underneath. That might work quite well. And it would have the benefit that it would come off the auxiliary switch on the control panel there. So I think that could potentially still be where I try and grab the power from. Anyhow, unfortunately, time has caught up with me. I've got to pack away now. I've got some other bits and pieces I've got to take care of this evening. So that is where we'll leave the installation for now. Don't feel like we've made a massive amount of progress, but we have got a little bit further. Well, that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Give the like button a press. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more.